right, and a hearty shout out to all of you in the Rabid Nation, whether you are a citizen, a tourist, or somebody just looking across the border wondering whether to immigrate or not. Welcome, one and all, to the Rabid Nation and to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist now, a compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another Monday Fireside Chat, where I'm kind of asking a question this time. I guess I should lay the background of that, but I'll get to that in a moment. A few reminders, announcements, that sort of thing. There is a goal in the super chat. As always, I will wear whatever hat the poll says I should wear if the super chat goal is reached. Just my fun and little side note of asking for money to keep the streaming going. I don't have ads on during the live stream, and I only put them on afterwards. And as long as the support comes through, and that's okay, we'll continue to do that. Let's see. Tonight, Saturday, I was reacting to Apologia's video, and there was something that was mentioned in passing that kind of caught my attention, where one of the apologists was reacting to Rhett and Alex were. They said something about who made who, in a sense, where they said their channel wouldn't have existed if atheists didn't exist with their content. So my question becomes tonight, is atheism responsible for the creation of apologists or are apologists just necessary because of the nature of religion? So I'm more leaning towards the second line, unless somebody wants to give me a better argument. But it was just an odd thing. I hadn't heard it in a while, where some apologists had said that if they didn't have all this stuff out there, that they wouldn't have their channel existing. Like they wouldn't have something as far as their channel existing at all. Like they have to respond to these atheists. Like if atheists are the only ones that criticize the religion. So I think it's just a good discussion starter, and we don't have to stay here, but that's kind of the impetus for the question. So I need to bring it. All right. Well, I'm going to get a roll call here real quick. The elder gods, of course, graced us with their presence early on in the stream, even before it started. So thank you. Good to see you, Cranky. Martin is here. Ryan Murphy is here. Earl with her PSA. She's just be warned, as one of my mods, she's just doing a public service announcement to make sure that you all understand that she's grumpy today. So be advised. Let's see, Michael's here. And then the mighty Philbert, of course, is here. I think that's it for now, for so far. Says I have to bring out. Okay, well, I don't need too much excuses to bring out the cute fangs picture, but there you go. Hopefully that'll make Earl less grumpy. We also has that as an emoji too. So here, let me put that up a couple times in the emotes. There we go. That should make Earl feel a little better. So there you go. But yeah, I was taken back. Like I don't know, maybe I'm just a little sensitive to this stuff, but I was just taken aback by the comment. Like our channel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for atheists making their content. We have so much of atheist content to react to. And if that didn't exist, my channel wouldn't exist. And I thought to myself, like, apologetics wouldn't exist if I, as an atheist, and all the rest of the atheists in the world fell off the planet. Apologetics somehow wouldn't exist. And I just found it interesting that somebody would have that mentality. I mean, I'm trying to figure out where that mentality is coming from. Because when I was a Christian, and I didn't say which type of apologist either. Okay, go for these levels, deal danger zone. Okay, fair enough. All right. There we go. See, it works. But I'm just wondering where that mentality comes from, because I remember when I was in the faith and I was still a Christian and I was engaged with apologetics. Okay. Like I did not assume that apologetics would just exist if 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 there was no atheism, like it wouldn't exist if there was no atheism, because apologetics has existed in the church almost from the beginning because of criticisms of the faith from other people who may have been pagans. They're worshiping, Zeus and Apollo. They're worshiping, early on, Christianity had this pushback from other religions, not just like atheism wouldn't have been like a thing or an understanding. Like I've always feel that every society's had their pragmatic atheists. Like they look at the gods and the worship of the temple, and they might go and genuflect and do their obligations, so people leave them alone. But really, in their heart of hearts, they don't believe any of that shit. Okay, so there you go. Apologists exist because of atheists, and they would address concerns that atheists actually have. Yeah, and that's another thing that, Michael, you bring up, because one of my complaints about apologists has been from the beginning is like they misrepresent the atheist in the first place. So is there need to address the atheists based on a perception of what atheists really are or what they think atheists are? And so if that's their motive, that's their motivation, I guess I'm kind of confused as to why atheists would be the only one that's it, because it's not just a question of atheists being it's their representation of it. So, make sure you be careful with the head pats. So there you go. And content do they reckon or engage with? They never acknowledge the responses to their own questions. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. I want to look up the channel that represents, because if they are actually doing like reaction to what atheists say. But yes, like I've lost track of the number of reactions I've heard of, 10 questions that atheists can't answer kind of thing. And we answer them and then they never respond to our answers. It's like there's an assumption that the questions are too big or too large to deal with. I don't know. I've had this, trouble with the apologists and the fact that I have reacted to some of those videos and they never do a response to my responses. Like, and that's pretty much universally true no matter who reacts to them. I've never seen like an apologist, when I give all the answers, like they have their videos, 10 questions that atheists can't answer. And then I answer them. And then they go, well, yeah, you can't answer them anyway, so I'm not going to respond to that. So yes, I'm not really sure that that's helpful. So if it weren't for all these people, we wouldn't see. I think it's the argument that they're making, Ryan. I think it's very similar. Like, if it wasn't for all these atheists, if it wasn't for all these critics of Christianity or Islam or whatever, we wouldn't have to exist. And it's a bad argument. Like, I think what you're pointing out is it's a bad argument. And that's why I asked the question, because I'm not sure who came first here. Like, I think religions make claims, and then somebody, regardless of what religion they might have, has an objection to those claims. Like, I could see it back in the day. Like, Justin Martyr, like a Christian, is considered a Christian apologist. He's dealing with criticisms from like Romanized pagans. So and plus philosophy and a few other things. There was a lot of, proto-atheist thought in philosophy too at the time. So it's like, you could see, I don't get it, because I think apologetics has to exist, because if you're going to make a religious claim, you're going to eventually have to back up that claim regardless of who the critic is. So what created who? Well, the religious claims create a backlash. Okay, like you're going to get a counter. So there you go. Remember, any apologist content actually engage with the questions that at least I have as an atheist. They either sidetrack, misrepresent, or just straw man, or don't understand. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that I'm trying to get at, because I think the problem with this apologist channel is they may have a misunderstanding of who made who here. Like, the moment you make a claim as any religion, that claim has to be backed up. Okay. To a lot of people, they're going to ask for backup. How do you know that's true? Where do you do that? But when they come after me, the atheist, it very much is like a misrepresentation. You guys know full well that I spend a lot of my time just correcting theists on their misunderstanding of what atheism is. Like, I don't believe in God, just like you don't believe in Zeus. You know, it's like, yeah, well, what's that like to not believe in anything? I don't know. You know, what's it like for you not to believe in Zeus? Well, it's really not anything at all. Well, that's kind of like that. Like, you know, it's I don't know. I've never understood this mentality of like, we're under siege and so we have to defend ourselves. Like, I think that's what kind of Ryan Murphy is getting at. Like, when people have this persecution complex, they feel like they're under siege all the time. And Christians have this in spades. They always have to pull the persecution card, but even when they're not being persecuted. But it's that mentality that says, I've got to create this channel to defend myself. I got to write this book of apologetics to defend myself. I got to do this to defend myself. And it's like, I'm not really attacking you. I'm just saying your claims don't make any sense. So yeah, there's also an element, Martin, where I think their performance, like I look at a lot of apologists, I'm saying it's about the money now. Like, it's about keeping the money. So, but yeah. Well, thanks, Cranky. Bring out that. Well, there's one. Need four more. Four more. I'm very strict on that policy of making sure we have enough super chats for the hat. I definitely do that. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get at the mentality of the apologist that seems like I've got to defend myself against all this criticism, but I'm always curious as to why they focus on atheists. Like, why is the atheist critic the one that they psychologically gravitate toward? Why do they think this is apologists versus atheists? So, and then if you get some explanation, it's garbage, it doesn't hold up. Free will defense for the problem. Yeah, like, no matter what we do, when we do respond, if they do respond in kind, it's like, well, you just didn't get what my criticism was. You just didn't get my question. Like, that seems to be, so it goes around and around in circles. But yeah, let's see. The victim complex dovetails well with burden shifting. Opposition is immediately framed as persecution. Yes. Yeah, that's a very valid point. Very, very valid. I think when you look at being persecuted, you're like, hey, I'm just holding for the truth. You guys got to prove me wrong. Like, it's the whole prove me wrong movement. It's that presuppositional apologetics at work, coupled with the persecution complex, and then you can just shift the burden of proof. That's a good mentality, I guess, if you're trying to be an apologist. So yeah, and it's also using the out group to keep the in group in check. Like, it's interesting that, like, they go against atheists, and atheists are the ones they demonize most. Like, we don't have any morality, we don't have this. Like, they really paint us as bad people. And so I think the apologist going after the atheist just feeds into that. Like, you don't want to be one of these atheists that has these criticisms of our faith. You know, they're bad people, and it allows them to paint us even further as something worse, like something, you know, like, we're not only just bad people, we're also attackers of the truth. So yeah, so there you go. Our existence is the only one truly threatens their. Yeah, there is an argument to be made there, Earl. I think you make a valid point, because I think if you see a Christian go up against an Islamic apologist, like a Christian apologist versus an Islamic apologist, at least they both believe in God. So there's a central core that they can agree on. And so they're not so diametrically opposed as you might think. And then the same is true with any other faith. Like, you at least believe in something, okay? Whereas as an atheist that doesn't believe in the supernatural, I am something that they don't know what to do with, because I don't even have any very much common ground with them. And so, yeah, I guess atheists could be perceived as a threat to that much more easily. So there you go. Hey, Native, good to see you. See, I still think it's funny that technically for Catholics, wrong believers are worse than non-believers. Yes. There is that aspect, I think, of it, Michael, where there are a few exceptions to what we're talking about. Like, I think Catholics are probably one of those notable exceptions where they think people that have the wrong brand of Christianity are worse than people that don't believe. I think they're one of the few, I think, that makes that kind of dogma statement. Like, it's better to be a non-believer than to believe the wrong version, like not follow Catholicism. I've always found that very interesting. That's probably a notable. Protestants, I don't know, necessarily have that view. At least some of them, most of them don't. I don't think. I know, as somebody's God boy, I didn't. Hey, skeptic, good to see you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just asking the question because I'm trying to get into the head of an apologist who would sit there and tell me that his channel wouldn't exist if I didn't exist. Like, if me and people like me didn't exist, if the atheist didn't exist, his apologetic channel wouldn't exist. Like, why is that the mentality? Like, you don't think there's other things you don't have to explain to people that might be believers in something else? Like, I don't get it. I understand the origin of the word, but I can't stop thinking about actual apologies. Can a Christian please ask forgiveness from the one that was harmed, not absolution from a non-existing being? Yes. I get what you're saying. Like the apologies. There are actually some Christian denominations that believe in restitution to the person that was wronged, and I give them credit for that. Like, there's no real forgiveness without restitution, but a lot of them, it's just a way of getting around, actually having to deal with the problem. Just go to a God. Christian forgiveness, in my opinion, leads to a lot of abuse. I mean, I've had that discussion before too, but yeah, the apologies, the trying to, it's not so much saying sorry, but it's trying to get some sort of absolution for something wrong done. So you just kind of ask for forgiveness from God, and then it's okay. So, but yes, it's just I'm just trying to get a handle on this mentality. Maybe I've been out of the church long enough, Ryan, that I now, like, I look at apologetics so much differently and the Christian faith so much differently. It's hard for me to get back into people's head like I used to. Like, when it was closer and I used to remember a little bit better what I thought back then and how I thought, it was easier. But when that person said it, I'm like, what? Like, why am I the reason for your existence? You're the one making all these claims that you should probably justify, not just to me, but to everybody else. And so, yeah, it just it didn't wash with me. So here I am asking the question. Head is easier to read. Yeah. It's finding excuses for what really doesn't match their mythology. Perhaps one grows the other. If apologists didn't exist, many of our channels would not exist. Perhaps it's all a cause and effect. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've said this before. Like, I don't always necessarily react to what apologists say. I deal with other issues of deconversion and atheism. So it's, I don't know. I think, I had one person comment a few weeks ago that, both of these groups need each other in order to keep their channels running. But I'm not sure that I would. Like, if I didn't have to respond to apologists, I have other issues to talk about. Like, there's a lot of deconversion issues that people have that have nothing to do with apologetics. So, but there you go. So I don't know. I think you might have a point. Like, we kind of bounce off each other, at least now. It's just a question of who started it. And I don't know that atheists have been numerous enough to start anything until recent days. So Mike was rabbider than me. Yeah, supposedly. Supposedly. Yep. Oh, see, I was never a believer. I have no Christian hat to put on. I learned much from ex-believers. Yeah, and I think that's something else. Like, I'm not always dealing with apologetics, Native. I'm I'm somehow like I have to explain sometimes to atheists why they're wrong and how in their attitude towards believers. Like you should not be angry at believers. Okay, you really shouldn't. There's some, yeah, you can be angry at what they do and say. They probably should know better as human beings. But there's a lot of believers out there. They're just misguided, misinformed, and I just have a hard time as a former believer getting mad at them. So, yeah, probably apply to more channels like the line. Yeah. Yeah, like the line is kind of all about conflict. So that's probably one of the reasons I stay away from it now these days. It's more about conflict than having a discussion. And I just don't, I don't think it's productive. Like, we, we're going to have the short video later, gotcha, and all that stuff. So, but like I've never been in that vein because I used to be a believer, and it's like I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for believers and apologists that are in that vein because it's like I used to be there. So whereas shows like The Line, I don't think they show a lot of sympathy for believers. Like it's like you're just stupid, and so that's like, and you need to change. So that's why you're a native atheist. Okay, there you go. Yeah, he's a native atheist because he was never anything else. So not only that, to the theists, we're greener grass. We have the audacity to live authentically as happy-ish, decent people, free from the constraints that make them a buzzkill at parties. Yeah, there's that. Like, it's really hard to talk purity culture at a party. Like it, I think to theists, the atheists, like, it's not that I'm a clean slate. It's just don't I don't have something to say that's going to entertain people as much. Like I've made this statement before that I don't really have anything as I don't have afterlife to give you as an atheist. I don't have like the message that everything's going to be all right as an atheist because I can't really say that because I don't have a karma thing either. Um, what I have to offer is nothing more than pure intellectual honesty, like honestly assessing the situation and saying there just isn't a lot of evidence for a God. So prize their ass, yes, probably. Most mice are stuck on a treadmill. Uh, no reason to be mad at them. They're just doing what is their nature and upbringing. And I think like you and Philbert and myself, we had that discussion Saturday after my show on Philbert's show. And, we were talking about satanic panic, but it's like, I think all three of us, it's not that we hate theists. We're very sympathetic to them and we're just kind of, we're sad about it. Like it's like we found our way out of that mice maze, we got off the treadmill, like, and how dare you get off the treadmill? So like I think that's kind of an emotional reaction that a lot of people have. Like, yeah, we're just like I don't have the hatred towards them. It's like I feel nothing but sympathy. I feel sad for people that are on that treadmill. And it's like I want to help you get off the treadmill. Okay, there's a whole other world to run around in and enjoy if you get off the damn treadmill. And so they react to that, like, how dare you tell me to get off the treadmill? Why atheists think God mean? Okay. Only applies to the biblical Abraham. That's one of my problems too, Jacqueline. Like when I was doing the arguments against the existence of God, one of my things that I bemoaned after looking at like 20 of them was that the vast majority only dealt with the Abrahamic notion of God. Like it doesn't deal with polytheism very much. It doesn't deal like I can buy a bunch of, not all powerful divine beings, but a bunch of divine beings in a committee making the planet. Like it, I could see a committee making the planet. Okay, that's why things are. And people had different ideas and started to run with ideas against the other group. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, most of the stuff is is designed to do. That was my bemoaning of it. So there you go. Yeah. You're nodding with me. I know you would be. See, I can hardly watch the Lion X because I get worked up and stuff, but your show is more calming. Actually, I learned something. And yeah, and that's kind of what I'm going for, Philbert. And I think all of us that are former believers, the ones that are former believers, for the most part, I think head down our way of thinking. Like, I didn't get where I am from fundamentalist Christian to the rabid atheist by having a lot of worked up, high energy, high anger arguments. I got here by having the calm moments where I'm looking at things and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me anymore. And here's why. So, and I do the link from Film Run, Rabbit Run. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. That's 2, 3 to go. They're only atheists and theists YouTube. Yeah, there's more to YouTube than that, but it tends to be what's so it's a beauty song. I did indeed watch Bonham, and he also left his blessings on the boulevard of broken dreams. Okay. Yes. I can't imagine that Fangs wouldn't be attracted to some artist named Bad Bunny. Like, here's my soulmate. So there you go. Oh, there you go. Working with the streams. I'm always working when the streams happen. Lucky to find one. So is there a topic today? Who needs who? Do atheists need apologists, or do apologists need atheists? Who created who? That's kind of the base question. We've gone a lot of different directions with this one, but like, it was struck me because somebody mentioned in a video I was reacting to Saturday where their apologetics channel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for atheist content creators, and it struck me. So that thought kind of got me going. So, when God is not even one God, they can't even. And that's something I'd point. Jacqueline, I remember, oh gosh, I was streaming like a year ago, I think, and this one theist got on, and I pointed out to them that the commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me, kind of indicates that the mythology of the time when Yahweh is around is that there were other gods that actually did exist. Otherwise, God wouldn't say that, right? And they had a fit with that. Like, no, that's not what it says. It says, no, it literally acknowledges other gods' existence. Otherwise, the whole idea is you can have, there's other gods that exist, but you have to put me number one, is the nature of that command. And they had a fit with that. Okay. So in addition, you're also right. Like, the Islamic God is very different from the Christian God, and both of those are very different from the Jewish God. So you'd like to have them know that, admit that. Yeah. It's like, I think more hotel kind of you can check out, but you can never leave. Religion would rather destroy some of them than let them go. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, apology is a reaction to atheists, but not targeted at them. If there were other religions instead, the apology would still respond to that. Yeah, and that's kind of the conclusion that we've drawn. I was just struck by the apologetics channel saying that they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for atheist content creators, because I think it showed like not a lot of depth of thought of why their channel exists, and not a lot of depth of thought about what apologetics tries to do. Like, it just struck me that I'm not surprised so much, but the fact that attitude exists in apologetics channel, like, I exist only because I want to counter the atheists and their content. I find that fascinating. So, yeah. And a lamp on which Nord lamps loves to dance to Latin music. My social skills are fire for a white woman. It's okay. Yeah, you offered to teach me the salsa, so I don't know how to dance really well. I grew up in a denomination that didn't allow going to dances, so I never learned how to dance really well. And then by the time I got out, I'm like in my late 40s. So. Love Pink Floyd. Thanks for stopping by, Martin. Appreciate you. You have a great day, man. I always appreciate when you're here. I feel like the main guardian of all my mods is here when you're here. Like I got the big dog in the room, you and Earl. So wouldn't internal apologists just be clergy? There is an aspect, Ryan, now that you mention it, of apologetics within the church. Like a lot of people say, well, like every once in a while I get one of these scholarly type atheist types that say, well, nobody's really paying attention to these apologists and all that stuff. And my response to that is, yes, they are, because the clergy um, use apologists when they're like, I used to get asked questions about the Bible and faith and God all the time. And a lot of the questions were apologetic in nature. And so clergy people definitely rely on apologists to give their answers. So the reason we should care about what apologists say is because it's more of a grassroots, people in the pew kind of response where people don't dig into it deeper. And so the clergy use a lot of that. Internal apologetics is like you're also trying to keep people in your specific faith. And so you have apologists that specialize in, like, I knew a few apologists that were about Pentecostal apologetics when I was in the Pentecostal church, defending the Pentecostal side of the faith against other denominations of Christianity. So, yeah, I know you were kind of being tongue in cheek, but it is a valid point to be made about apologetics. Like a lot of people, like, what are you even dealing with these apologists? Most scholars just laugh them off. Well, that may be true, but you know who doesn't laugh them off? The pastor explaining certain things to his congregants. And on a real rubber meets the road level, apologists, your tongue is half in cheek because I think you know that. Like it's not a apologetics just doesn't affect the scholarly realm. It hits people in the pew. So, and I used to use apologetical stuff all the time when I was answering questions until I stopped. Yeah, it's like when I realized that answer didn't work, I'd move on to something else. And so there's always something that's going on in apologetics that affects the church. So a lot of people think apologists don't really affect a lot, but it's like, no, you have a lot of clergy people who have a vested interest in keeping their faith alive because their livelihood depends on it. So yes, they listen to the apologists and they give those bullshit answers to the people in the pew. And the people in the pew continue to believe, continue to put their money in the basket, and continue to attend. So apologetics has that effect on trying to keep people in the pew all the time. And that's one of the things I say, well, you don't need atheists for that. Okay, you don't really need atheists for that. So he didn't. Yeah, it's Cranky makes a valid point, being an elder God himself and watching this from afar. Yeah, if you read the Old Testament Bible and follow it through, it's very much that shift. You have that polytheistic, the henoistic, where everybody has their God, everybody acknowledges their God, and they're fighting against each other. Then monotheistic, there is no God but one. That comes later. But yeah, you can see that. Went on screen and skipped it. Hold on. Oh, I did miss it. Well, the way I interpret that command is, do not put other man-made gods above me. The context, you could put it that way, but the context kind of indicates that there's a belief in other gods. So, and there's other passages that talk about the other gods too. So, but yeah, that's one way to look at it. But I've always read it and realized, holy shit, there's the 10 Commandments are actually acknowledging other gods exist. So, it's when they believe every knee shall bow and will the come to true. They're dangerous as well as any other cults to believe. If you're not with us, you're against us. Yeah. Atheists are kind of against every religion, so I guess that makes us an obvious target. Hey, Ron, how many immortal beatings does it take to get to the center of Tootsie Pop? Gods, devils, angels, demons, ghosts. Sounds more like more than one god me, yes. Yeah, I'd say philosophy and apologetics separated. They try to pretend not so, but yeah. I heard a problem from Africa that goes, if you walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. Okay. Maybe that'll help me out. But thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. That's three, two more to go. Uh, maybe attempts to go philosophy, but true philosophy gave up the Platonic word game centuries ago. Yeah, that's kind of what one of the major criticisms of like religious philosophy in the Bible is that it stays like the New Testament is very Platonic word games. So, but philosophy has moved on from Plato in a lot of ways. They still study Plato, but then they point out why we've moved on. So I'm not sure that modern philosophy and Christianity have very little to do with each other. So it's something I learned in seminary because when I was studying the philosophers in seminary, I realized that's nothing like what we do today. So certainly some of the online apologists are really just debate me Phil bros that specialize in religion. Yeah, that could be. And maybe that channel was one of them. Like they were focused on atheists because there was a certain debate me attitude. So so uh, so when the other gods are mentioned in the Bible, is no that these other gods. It could be, but the problem with the Jewish religion at the time when Yahweh is making his thing is like the Yahwehists acknowledged other gods existed. You even have this kind of language like I can't remember which one it is, but there's a battle between a king and the Israelites, and it's described as a war between Yahweh and another god. Like and like not disparaging that the other God doesn't exist. The other God does exist. You see this in when the Ark of the Covenant is taken by the Philistines, like when Dagon falls down and the image of Dagon falls down before the Ark. That's literally saying that this other God bows down to our God. Like there's never anything in the language that suggests that the other God, like Dagon, doesn't exist. It's just that he's subservient to ours. So that's the whole one-upmanship of that type of belief. Like every tribe has their God and their God's better than everybody else's. There's never a non-acknowledgement of those other gods don't exist. It's those other gods do exist. They're just subservient to ours. So that's kind of the way the Bible reads most of the time. It's not until you get later, like when you get to the New Testament, that language kind of disappears. So postmodernist fire and philosophy is making ugly babies like that we all see in J. Trier. Okay, there we go. Yeah, he still loves the Kalam wordplay. He does. There's a covenant birth, a legal binding agreement between them and the deity. If you do, I will do. In the Bible, El Berneth and Milan are mentioned. Yes. Like there's a lot of, like, if you read the Old Testament, this is one thing that struck me when I was a Christian is how, and this probably fed into my Pentecostal faith, like all these other gods existed in my mind, but they were demons or like that's the transfer that gets made in the New Testament is like all these other gods. Well, they weren't really gods at all. They were demons in disguise of God, and they're all actually subservient to Yahweh. That's the kind of the way you reinterpret it later in the New Testament. But at the time you're reading it, it's like, is he just acknowledging that these other gods actually exist? Like, you know, I don't know, you don't really get a lot of that. There's a few of the prophets that I think make this language that other gods don't actually exist or are not gods at all, but it's rare. So postmodernism is wordplay. Okay, there we go. Word thought of the day. Jesus said, "It's not sin cast the first stone." Jesus was free from sin, right? So was he actually saying I get the first shot? I don't know. He didn't seem to want to do it either. Like, I don't know what was going on there. See, my problem with Jesus and women is there's a lot of things in the gospel that kind of hint that there was something going on. Like any good cult leader, he seemed to have a harem, and nobody wants to mention it. Nobody wants to talk about it because, you know, we got to keep Jesus pure as the driven snow. But Like, can you imagine if some dude got you saved from being stoned to death back in the day, what that would do to a possible relationship? Like, what's Jesus driving at? Like, I have a lot of questions about Jesus's sexuality, his what he was doing on the side. Like, there's a verse of scripture where it talks about all the women that were following him around and seeing to his needs, quote unquote. Like, um, it there's a whole thing, and with the woman caught in adultery, I can't imagine like any man is going to want her, but Jesus would take her in. Like, there you go. So I'm not sure how much sin is involved there. Yeah, Baal is definitely described as is described as the Canaanite god, and Yahweh is described as fighting against him, like personally, like they had a personal duel. So it kind of treats Baal as a real entity. So I don't know. It does present a question. That's why that story is problematic for me. Like, okay, if if there was somebody without sin, would have been okay to stone her, then like it's not a really good response by Jesus, really, when you think about it. Like, he could have used it. Like, it's a weird story, and you can tell it's added later, and we know textually speaking it's added later, but it's just a weird story. I think it was just a popular story people thought was cool, and they decided to put it in the Bible. So every Musket story. I thought it was ill. He had a harem once. It was divine. There you go. Yeah, it's easy to make a character in a book walk and talk and do no miracles and to be perfect and do miracles and to be perfect. Yeah, it's really easy to do that. That's what I pointed that out once to a theist when they got online and they got mad at me. Like, no, you're writing about Jesus after the fact. You can make him into anything you want. Like, you can edit like, just look at your four gospels. There's obviously some editing about the character of Jesus. Like Mark, he's very human. Like the Mark Jesus is very human. There's no resurrection narrative. There's no birth narrative. He's just a guy who preached and taught a lot of things and got crucified for it. Like, you have to own up to the people that added the longer ending of Mark. They were just trying to finish the story the other gospels said. But Mark's Jesus is very human. John, by comparison, he's superhuman. Like, they've edited the story. It's not just that they edited the story, they edited the character of Jesus into something else than he was originally portrayed. Like, you can see it. Matthew and Luke are kind of the midway point where they add a bunch of stuff to make him more divine, but kind of try to keep the human element. So it's like, the old three on the old codex. Easy. And it still doesn't have the story in it yet. Yeah, it's the woman caught in adultery is you don't have that story in that one. Like that, yeah, that's 400 AD as I recall. My biblical studies training actually coming in use. Yeah, like, you don't see that story, and it's not in there, and so it has to be later than that. So of the Gospels are an example of that. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about legendary development, but one of the things about the character himself, Jesus as a character in literature, if you look at what the later gospel writers do him, they change the character. Like, he's not the same. That's why people have such a problem like harmonizing the gospels, not just because of the accounts, but the character of Jesus is so different. And so, yeah, it's just like, it sounds like every job listing you've ever applied for. Okay, one have the other one hear them. But yeah, like the thing is, John, it's when you look at it's probably an interesting study to do from a secular point of view, is look at all the reactions between Jesus and a woman, or the women that follow him around, or the women that are mentioned. Look at look at the interaction between all of them. Like it's a very interesting dynamic. Um, like all of them are very, like when he's one on one with a woman, it gets, with a very few exceptions, like the woman at the well, it gets very intimate at times. Like when he reveals himself after his resurrection to Mary Magdalene, like that's a very intimate scene. Like that's not just a disciple and her teacher, it's something else. So and I think they're tapping into that romance of Jesus. Like Jesus has a beard and long hair and deep eyes. I don't think that's accidental. So yeah, well, yeah, boy, I agree. Well, I mean, they could have hired a scribe to write it down for them. That's possible, but even a scribe is going to change the wording. um, I don't discount the possibility that people could learn a language after that, but how would they have the means to do so? That's the question. So there you go. Yes, Earl is a woman of many talents. This is true. I stop working and follow me. Easy sell. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But yeah, like I find it fascinating that people don't notice that. Like the more I look at other cult leaders and I look at Jesus, boy, there's a lot of similarities. And yes, and how he treats women is very similar. We just keep that part of the story because we don't want Jesus to be like this guy that's sleeping around. But how would we know if he didn't? If he did, like if he didn't or did, we wouldn't know because the gospels are very unclear. They just kind of hint at things. So as a language, it was corny Greek. There you go. What do you think of the notion that Jesus wasn't referring to Yahweh as his father, but a different God, which is why he challenged the law? You heard it said, but I say, um, I remember hearing that. The Gnostics have a lot of very interesting views, which is why they were condemned as heretics, because I think their view of Jesus would leave a lot of people free of the whole treating Jesus like a God thing and infallible. Like the beauty of Gnosticism is you can look at Jesus as a human being, or you either have to, well, wait a minute, you'd have to look at him as a spirit that isn't touchable, right? Correct? In order for him to be closer to God. So yeah, but yeah, I could see where they would say that the Father wasn't Yahweh, because Yahweh is kind of a not somebody like your heavenly Father knows you and loves you. I don't know where you'd get that from the Old Testament. Okay, like I just so, but yeah, I don't know. The Gnostics. The beauty of the Gnostics is it points out to us very early on there was a difference of opinion about who Jesus was. And I think that's the biggest value. In fact, there were a lot of differences of opinion about Jesus. One, and just one that won politically ends up ruling the roost. But yeah, I think it's possible that he wasn't referring to Yahweh. It is. Um, Maybe he was like introducing the real true God and Yahweh is a false one. I think the Gnostics might, some Gnostic groups might well, warm up to that idea. So put it in and somewhere, but not sure where. Yeah. All right. I had atheists creating apologists because society to shun others who disagree with the group, and atheists secretly disagree, and then they have the courage to call out the nonsense. Yes, there you go. Yeah, yeah, maybe. I'm just saying, like, there's there's this imagery, like with cult leaders, like they always have something on the side going on. I'm just saying, and the fact that Jesus's relationships with the women that are following him around, whenever there's a one-on-one, I don't know if there's maybe more than Mary Magdalene, but there's a mention of all these women that follow him around as well. Like it's in one of the gospels on purpose. I can't recall off the top of my head which one, but I'm just saying. Well, the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. Of course, those two condemn each other as well. So, but yeah, the Gnostics got condemned by the winners. Like it's like a lot of the heresies, like the Pelagian heresy and the other heresies, all got condemned because they got outvoted. Like it's democracy in action. You know, we just pick the theology that we like best, and everybody else loses. So until that moment, you have all these different sects and groups of people that are running around with different views of God and Jesus, and then all of a sudden, bam, there you go. Jewish Messiah story. Mark had the suffering servant Jesus. Luke to the Greeks as Jesus, the Son of Man. John to the world as Jesus, the God. Yeah, I mean, it's the problem with some of those, Jacqueline, is they don't go together. Like they, is he all human? Is he all God? Is he the Son of Man? Like I get that everybody writing for a different purpose, but you can clearly tell like Matthew and Luke definitely had a copy of Mark laying on the table, and because they copy him so prolifically, but they add stuff that make him a little bit more than the man presented in Mark. They give him some divine qualities. So I don't know where it's been. Material was created by some malevolent being. Jesus' real message was to introduce to the true spirit God. Yeah, I think there's a lot of points to be made for that one. Like, because you see that in John. John is supposedly written to counter the Gnostics, and he says, God is a spirit. Those who must worship him must worship it in spirit and truth. We just did that like last week. So does that counter the Gnostics or reinforce them? It seems like John is one of those difficult guys. The writer who writes John is very difficult because he's, on the one hand, he has Thomas, you can come over here and touch me, Thomas, I'm a real person. And then at the same time, they write stuff like that. God is a spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth, and so forth. So contradictory. The proto-Gnostics might have been around, but yeah. Yahweh the God. Yeah, pretty much. He's the war god of the south, of the tribe of Judah. Christianity cult. Well, yeah. I mean, as an atheist and an anti-theist, I view all religion as kind of cult-like. Like everything's a cult. Like a religion is just a very large cult, and a cult is a very small religion. Like they're kind of the same. But yeah, but cultic behavior appears in almost every religion. I think that's what he meant by old tradition. Right, and Apocrypha. I mean, no, Jesus had a gay lover. The Apocrypha doesn't really say. Like, you have apocryphal gospels where, like, there are some hints at that. Like, I don't know, like, the statement in John where Jesus' disciple who he loved was leaning on his breast. A lot of people interpret that as John the apostle, but others say that might be actually a reference to a woman disciple that they didn't want to reveal who it was by name because they didn't want to create certain thoughts about Jesus, like, did he have a lover? Because the disciple whom Jesus loved is kind of a very intimate statement about a person. Like, he didn't love the rest of his disciples, like they were just hated. Like, it's making a point about that particular disciple being more special in that category than others. So did he have a gay lover, or did he have a woman on the side that they were all trying to protect her identity? So you never heard of an apologist when you were a Christian? Probably not. But I can tell you this, your pastor was probably reading people that were apologists in books. So I know mine was, and I started reading them when I became a pastor too. So oh, that isn't in the Bible. It's a Gnostic God. Oh, okay. Let's see. I was Orthodox for a year, and yeah, it is a cultish-like behavior they display. You have to fast all the time. Yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like, some of you people that are part of big, large denominations begin to realize that you're just as cultic as the small little cult on the corner that's preaching peace and love. sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's like there's no difference. Like you have people fasting, you have the rituals. It's a cult. It's just bigger. So before YouTube either, and I'm supposedly our target group. I never believed. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like that goes back to our original question: do apologists need atheists? No, because they have their own internal problems to deal with. Like they have to constantly be giving people that believe a reason to keep believing. Like that's a big part of what apologetics does. Like it just, that's not a real criticism. You can believe it anyway. So you've been hunting the gods for a long time now. Yeah, you've mentioned a lot by name, so you seem to know what you're talking about, Jacqueline. Like there's a lot of gods out there. Oh my goodness. For American men to join the Eastern Orthodox. Is that true? Why? Because Eastern Orthodoxy offers a very very male-dominated religion. It's very patriarchal. So, like, I think there's still one of the major denominations that doesn't allow women into any leadership positions. So, it's still a man thing. But it's also like most of the ones I've run into are like creationists. Like, there's a very biblical literalism to the Orthodox Church, Eastern Orthodox in some ways. But I don't know. The Orthodox Church seems like the most unpleasant encounters I have with theists are usually they're Orthodox in some way. So, hey, Modern, good to see you. Yeah, probably. It's more like multiple cults. That's probably true. Yeah, I'd say that's probably true. Joan the Apostle. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, the problem with that statement, the disciple whom Jesus loved in John, is it's left, like, whoever wrote that, like, why wouldn't you say it's John the Apostle? Like, if it's you, okay, why isn't the language, Peter was there and I was leaning on Jesus's breast? Why can't we use the word I? Like, and then, at that point, you would actually know it's written by an eyewitness of what happened, and you'd have to date the book of John earlier because of it. But he doesn't do that. The writer says the disciple whom Jesus loved, very third personish, like outside, like this is a different person than me, the writer. Well, why? Why do we do that? Why can't he just say, and John and Peter were there? Like, why can't he do that? Well, maybe it's because the disciple whom Jesus loved was a lover. Like that's the language we're using here. So is that symbolic of something going on, or did one of the women in the camp earn that title, like Mary Magdalene? Like, and they're trying to just protect her identity. So yeah, it's one of those things that the writer didn't actually clear anything up. He made it worse. So hell, it could be as simple as no female disciple makes it easier to be misogynist. Yeah, it keeps that out of it. Yeah, it has more mystical stuff. Yeah, Cranky, you've probably studied that a little bit more than I have, based on some of the things you've said. But I think there's a lot of mystical, like the last one I talked to, and Earl and Asho probably remember that discussion. That was a while ago, but he was making a big deal about going to communion that Sunday. Like it was a big moment for him every time to go to communions, because there's a lot of mystical stuff to it. So yeah, I can see that. Thomas, touch me. To Mary, don't touch me, for I have not yet. Make it make sense. Yeah. It was a constant theological problem, thorn in my side. A little bit about my background, if you don't know, like I have a master's degree in theology, theological studies from Asbury, and then I also have a degree in biblical studies from Trinity Bible College in North Dakota. And one of the theological problems is how you deal with unconditional love. Like, it's a statement made by Christians all the time. Oh, God has unconditional love for you. No, that's bullshit. He has conditional love for you. Like, it's like, he loves everybody. Does he? Okay. Like, other statements made by God himself seem to indicate no, he doesn't love everybody. He hates certain people. Like, these things I hate, in some of the texts of the Psalms, and the prophets. So, yeah. So you learn from you were wrong from experience and student. Well, that's a good place to be. Philbert is a circle. Okay. Oh, I did the part where Mary sees a naked gardener in a place it's only rocks and didn't recognize it was Jesus. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting part. Like, she assumes he's the gardener because you can't see. She's crying so much. But yeah, like I don't know. That part of the story always interests me because the scene there between Mary Magdalene and Jesus is a little bit intimate. Like, don't touch me because I haven't ascended to my Father. Well, why would she be touching you, Jesus? Like, this is a man-woman relationship and she's not married to you unless there was something else going on. So yeah, I really feel like there were other stories going on around about Jesus, but they got edited out of the gospel texts. Like, we just don't talk about that part. So yeah. Frankincense and orthodox is also holy. Yeah, well, yeah. Like, frankincense is a great spice. It's good stuff. Orthodox, I prayed to Mary and the saints. They believe the wine in his blood and his body. Communion is serious. Yeah, that's kind of what I got from the other guy. Like, it's a very serious mystical thing, and I think a lot of people are attracted to that. Like, they have a very hard line, this is a real experience kind of thing. And I think that's what, like, people are looking for authentic experiences, and orthodoxy on the surface gives you that, but you can have that same kind of experience in every religion. That's been my argument about the argument from experience for years. Like, my apologetics professor taught me that one way back in Bible college when I was in my early mid-20s. He's like, experience doesn't count for much when you're trying to prove the truth to somebody because everybody has an experience. But yeah, it's a serious experiential thing for Orthodox people. I think that's why it's attractive to some. So, like, they're not screwing around. Like, they're Christians and they're not screwing around about it. They always had the lights off. It's the gayest story ever told. Church is obvious the love for Jesus was not preached. Just look at the Inquisition. Yeah, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Oh, yeah. So there you go. What do you say when you're late to apologetics class? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You have to apologize, I guess. My mom would weird me out. Yeah, probably that would be a rough one, Ryan. What about the contradiction guide gives man free will, but then knows the future paradox? That's a theological one that I never could get past, Nathan. Like, if you discard God, it's not a problem. Like, I can grant people decision-making properties without necessarily saying they have a destiny. On the other hand, like, how much real choice do we actually get is a good question. I used to ask that a lot. Like, I can't go back and fix things. I can't go forward and make sure things go a certain direction. I can only live with the decisions I have at the moment, which is very limiting, by the way. So, but yeah, the free will and the future thing, like, you could deal with it with certain theologies, like open theism tries to deal with it by making God less than omniscient. Like, he knows what he knows in the way that anybody can know it about the future, which means he doesn't really know the future, just knows all the possibilities of the future and has a plan for each one. So you can do that. But then, so yeah, it's just a lot of these things gave way for me. That's why I don't believe anymore. Like, once you get out of that, you suddenly realize, like, this is the problem. Like, there's certain questions that don't have answers, and you try to come up with an answer, but it's unsatisfying. So Yeah, there's a lot of convoluted mental gymnastics on that question. Like I must have had like 20 different explanations over the years as a Christian, as a pastor when I dealt with that one. Like it was, okay, I got free will so I can make actual choices, but God knows what I'm going to choose. So is there really a choice? Like I don't really have a choice. It might be my agency, but then God already knows what I'm going to do before the foundation of the world. So when he creates me, he knows what I'm going to do. So is that really agency? Like you can go around in this kind of circle all day long. It's one of the great problems with theology is they have these issues and people think they have answers, but none of the answers can be falsified, so they're all equally as valid. And that's the problem. Without a falsification, theology has that major problem. You can't falsify anything it says. Like I remember when I said that once to somebody, is like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you're making a conclusion about some theology, but you can't falsify it, so it makes it a weak argument. Like that's the largest problem that I have with theology now is like I can't falsify anything. I can't create a standard of falsifiability or even a hypothesis about it. You just make the claim and drop it. So he knows what you're going to choose, but he's still going to fuck you up for making the wrong choice. Yeah, can you surprise God? I don't know. You can definitely educate him, like because he tells Abraham after he almost sacrifices his son, "Now I know," like he didn't know before. Thanks, Josh. Again, hey, one more. Hat is winning. The heart bucket hat is winning just in time for Valentine's Day. So I've never been to a tarot card party, although I got interested in tarot very recently because I was playing Cyberpunk 2077 and the tarot cards are part of it. So, and I'm going to look into the lore about how the writers of Cyberpunk 2077 used tarot cards to kind of be their narrative for that one. So, yeah, it's like if you can't falsify something in theology, what good is theology? Like I've you got to have a way of saying this isn't true, and if you test it, and then you could say, well, I couldn't, my standard of falsifiability wasn't reached. So then all of a sudden you actually make your argument stronger. Well, the problem with theology, you can't do that because God's a mystery. So you gotta thank, you're welcome, but it's like to me it just became a problem when I was a theologian. Like I can't falsify any of this stuff. It was a big problem. It's a big problem in theology and all religious claims, and it still remains the big problem. So it's not even in the Bible. Yeah, it really isn't there. You know what I know you know what I'm saying, Chum. You know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, like I got into tarot just I like studied some of the things about tarot just so I could understand that part of the lore of cyberpunk better. The strange places my K holes take me, as Earl would say. So, but yeah, it's like it was. I'm like, okay, these are tarot cards. They're kind of cool looking too in the game. So I'm like, okay, I'll look this stuff up. And tarot has this whole stuff around it too that's unfalsifiable. Oh, Plato made it up and church stole it. And I find myself not judging people. When I was a Christian, I judged people who were not Christian. Oh, they possess Satan or deceived. Now I see them as people. It's a big change, Nathan. It's one of the biggest things I learned is I didn't have any religious reasons to hate anybody anymore. Like, I don't know if I still don't judge people. I think we all judge each other because it's kind of inherent in human nature in certain respects. But I don't judge people by silly standards like my religion anymore. Like, I don't have a reason to hate LGBTQ people. I don't. I have a reason to hate people that supposedly are lesser than me because they haven't found the truth. I think you're indicating that that's one of the great liberations of deconverting from a religion and becoming an atheist is I don't have any religious reasons to hate anybody anymore. It's a great liberation. So Gnostics taught tarot. They did. Okay. Tarot's old. Like, it's been around for a while. You know, I like to find the guy who made up the original cards. Like, what were you thinking at the time? So, I just found it interesting to think of what God was like before creating things. Did he just pop into existence knowing everything, or did he have to learn it? Or did he grow up without parents? Oh, yes. Well, he's the uncaused cause, There's another unfalsifiable claim. Like, when you bring this up to people who want to argue for the existence of God, well, that's a nice unfalsifiable claim. Can you give me a standard that would make that falsifiable? And sure enough, once they do, it's like, okay, I can meet that. So the Dane thing from a different angle is the Bible is like a schematic. There you go. There you go. It's a schematic. It's the same. Okay. All right. I have definitely noticed that, Liberty. I no longer condemn people to hell in my mind like I did. Yes, it's a big, dude, that is one of the great blessings of being an atheist. I don't have to condemn somebody because of they're not going to hell to me. They're just human beings. They might be misguided. I still care about them all the same. Like, I can, like, I have several friends, like Ember is a trans female, and I can love her just as much as I love my former Christian colleagues that are still in Christianity that I think are misguided. Like, I don't have the religious reason to condemn anybody. Nobody's going to hell. Okay. Nobody's going to heaven either, but nobody's going to hell. And you kind of look at everybody based on how they treat you, not what they are. Like, I'm more concerned about people's actions, whether they're beneficial, whether they're loving and kind, where there are those things. And I don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to hell or not. Like, I don't have this dividing line where I'm separating the sheep from the goats anymore. Like, these are the people that are going to be condemned by Jesus, and these are the people that are not. Like, I don't have that anymore. So, what if the universe has just forgotten school about 2D alien primary school? Where's your God? That's as valid as any other one. So, I'm sure the mushrooms were involved in created tarot. Okay, there you go. Probably, Ron. Probably. And Gary Larson style school kids. There you go. But yeah, church has nothing original. That's probably true. Like, when I look at the church, like, there's so much borrowed stuff. I just disturbed at how a religion supposedly of Jesus loving everybody ends up with a cannibalistic vampiric ritual called communion. I'm still just deliverer now. Yeah, and I've pointed this out before. Religion and politics all start about the same time. They're very interesting bedfellows, and they always have been. Like, one tries to give you this all-seeing eye that's always watching you so you behave yourself in religion, and the other one creates the laws that everybody's supposed to obey or else part of it. So, yeah, you will for a while. I wish I could give you some comfort there, Nathan, but I've been deconverting now for 10 years, and I still, every once in a while, because of the way my brain was programmed with the hellfire and brimstone preaching, that still flares up. And that's what that is. Like, it still pops into your head. I think we were talking about this Saturday, me and Skeptic and the mighty Philbert. We were talking about how that stuff still affects you, even if you've been out for a while. I've been out of the church for 8 years, and I've been out of believing in anything for 10. So, last 2 years of being a pastor were kind of rough on me, but because I was an atheist trying to preach Christianity, but the wiring, the hard wiring, some of the wiring that's been done to your brain is still there. And I wish I could give you some comfort in saying that that's going to go away anytime soon, but I'm just going to be real with you and say that might pop up for a while. Okay. Like, it's something that's there, and they put it there, and it's hard to rewire your brain. The trauma of that is going to stay. I still have RTS myself. So Don't think you're alone in that. It's part of the reason this channel exists. When I meet people like you, I want to offer you some encouragement. It will get better. It does get better, but it takes a while. You have to rewire your brain. So it goes a medium show. It's stupid reality TV BS mixed with nonsense. Well, that's kind of what tarot is. It's kind of fun though. Like if you don't take the religious aspects of things seriously, sometimes they're kind of fun. But you know, I'm a fan of Norse mythology because it's kind of fun as long as you realize it's mythology. So yeah, it's both about social cohesion and control. Like both of them have the same systems. That's why I've made the remark that politicians and preachers use the same type of language and tactics. So yeah, you're not alone. Just so you know, Nathan, Ron's been there. Several other people in chat that I've seen tonight were there with you. Like it's RTS is a thing. We're not going to deny its existence. You're always welcome here if you need some help. In fact, Thursday I do deconversion hangout, and that's specifically what that's for. If you need help. I don't think religion started as a control method, but it seems to be more effective one than many. I think religion started as a way to answer questions, but then it became accepted. And the thing with religion is the place it dwells, human psychology and human social behavior. Sooner or later, you're going to introduce some manipulative shit. And the rulers and power, it's not an accident that for a lot of human history, the religious leader and the temporal state leader are the same person. Like, just look at the pharaohs of Egypt. That's not accidental because you control this social, religious, afterlife stuff, and you also control the state. And that's a very powerful combo. I don't know if it started out that way either. I don't even know if the government started out that way. Like, we got this other tribe trying to kill us. We need somebody to lead us when they're trying to kill us. It started with probably good reasons, like a lot of things, good intentions, I will say. But as it evolves, it becomes something more nefarious. Like other people begin to inject stuff in. Oh yeah, Rome definitely charges theirs for control. Still living around and they are MAGA. Oh, I'm so sorry. Being an atheist, I managed to keep the peace while I'm still trying to get it. Yeah, and if you're able to do that, Nathan, more power to you. I try to keep peace with my family too. I think most of them know I run an atheist YouTube channel, but I have believers in my family, my kids, my mom. So I guess I was too good of a pastor when some of my kids were little and I was preaching the gospel, so to speak, and they're sticking with it. And they're praying for their dad and hoping he gets better. I get it. But yeah, you have to decide real quickly, do you want peace with your family or do you want to be right? Like, do you have to be right to the point where you're willing to damage your relationships with people you love and care for? And it's a decision you have to make. Some people have made it the other way too. Like some people have abusive family relationships, so they get out. But if you're not that, you're fine. Like, and don't worry about the MAGA thing. I think MAGA is starting to fall apart. That's my personal opinion as a guy with a poli-sci degree. Like as a movement, I think it's starting to go through its early death stroke stages. It's been around for too long. So, yeah. All right, the goal's running out of time. 4 minutes left, and I'm running out of time. But I do have to thank everybody. I got to go here in a little bit because I got to get ready for work. On a fine day at Walmart, but a night, I should say, because I work nights. But yeah, but I feel for you, man. I absolutely feel for you. Been there, done that. So slowly that I never actually really heard. It might be because of autism, a social ineptness party. Yeah. Yeah, it's starting to fall apart. Like that's becoming the albatross around MAGA's neck and around Trump's neck. So, and that's not a Democrat Republican issue. That's like an everybody issue. So, like everybody's like, okay, everybody's trying to push these aside. Why? Like people on all sides of the aisle want answers there. So, yeah, it's kind of falling apart for them. But All right, folks, I have got to wrap it up. I have to go to work here and leave for work in about a little over a half hour. So I've got to wrap this up. But I want to thank everybody for stopping by. Great discussion tonight. Awesome stuff, like good discussion on things. So, great, work, good deconversion stuff, things like that. I appreciate it. So it's stuff that we have to think about what our relationship with people outside the atheist community is. And I'm always trying to build things. So I thought there was a lot of good discussion tonight. So thank you very much. I want to just thank everybody that gave tonight. I want to thank Josh, especially because he's dropping 3 on me tonight, cranky in there. One short of the heart bucket hat though. Got a few minutes left, but all right. But thank you so much. It keeps me going. We're going to continue to try and normalize atheism and deconversion, and that's what I do. And I want to thank some of the great comments. I want to thank Nathan for stopping by. It's like this is why this channel exists. Like people like Nathan that are struggling, they're coming out, they're realizing they don't believe anymore, and you need some support. We're here. So that's a medallion. This is a Vulknut. It's a Viking Vulknut. Surrounded by a rune circle. I have a lot of pagan medallions. It's great conversation starters. What is that? You believe that stuff? Nope. I just think they're cool. So there you go. I just think they're cool. Yes. Oh, yes. And we have to have baby fangs. I'm going to put baby fangs up here. But yes, baby fangs. So thanks everybody for the discussion. Thanks, Josh and Cranky, for the donations. Appreciate it. Let's see. Other announcements. I will see you all Wednesday. We'll be doing red letters, red flags, and I will be starting the Sermon on the Mount with the Beatitudes. And I think we're going to be looking at the Beatitudes as a control mechanism, because when it comes to the Beatitudes, the way the Sermon on the Mount starts, why does he start that way? We're looking at the teachings of Jesus and seeing if there's any red flags and stuff that we want to do. So we'll be looking at that. And of course, Thursday night is Deconversion Hangouts. Friday, I will be continuing the Apologia video review, because Saturday, I think I will have a special Valentine's Day episode for those of you who are not out with your Valentine. We can all be Valentines together on Saturday night. So we'll see you then for that. So that's kind of thing. So there you go. But yeah, I don't stream tomorrow, but I do stream Wednesday. It's going to be like 4 in a row. I'll keep them shorter except the ones on the weekend where I can handle more. But thanks everybody for stopping by. Appreciate it. May fangs nibble on all of your hearts. May he look at you with those big wide eyes and give you all the warm fuzzies that you need outside of your religion, that you don't need anymore inside of it. May he purify your religiously corrupted vegetables with his pointy teeth. Make sure you leave a circumcised carrot on top of your stash. That way fangs will take the circumcised carrot instead of your stash, maybe. It's not a guarantee, but it's worth a try. Nom nom and all of that. Yes, and may fangs wiggle his nose at everyone. Good night and love you all from Earl. But as always, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So make sure you're taking all your time, your money, your opportunities, and giving them to yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, thanks for stopping by, guys. And I'll see you all on Wednesday at 7. But we're doing another episode of Red Letters, Red Flags. I'll see you then. And till then, good night.
It's time to take a stand, bringing the truth to a fucked up land.